Good afternoon and welcome to The Paper Thing, Season 4, Episode 18, Not a Care, with me, the Broken Bottle Boy, here on Twitch. You can follow me on Twitter, of course, at Broken Bottle Boy, and on TikTok, at Useless Conquest. Today on the show, we have a four-paper show, nearly said a three-paper show. We have a four-paper show. It's The Guardian, The Times, The Daily Mail, and The Sun. That's four of your worst British publications up for dissection. Good afternoon, Industrial Pet, and hello, Studying Fangirl. Sorry I started a bit late, but there was a phishing attempt on my Twitter account. They tried to pretend that there had been a copyright strike against it, but there wasn't, and I spotted that the link was shady AF. Right. Let's get down to it. Daily Mail, Sun, Guardian. Right, we're going to go Guardian, Sun, Times, Daily Mail. Hello to you all. Now, as it goes, we know that The Guardian is not usually that interesting, but we're going to do it because, you know. Good afternoon to you, Mark Canosis. How you doing? Good to see you. All right. Glass is clean. Let's do this. Right. So, front page of The Guardian. After COVID, can the arts ever be the same? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Top of the page. Champions Man City win the Premier League. Whoopie-doo. They've got, you know, more money than God. Top of the main stories. Warning, Johnson's ID plan risks freezing out over 2 million voters. Covered a little bit of this in today's newsletter. In terms of the BBC absolutely swallowing the government narrative on this story. But yes, this Guardian story is pretty bang on the money. The government's own studies suggested that millions of voters will be disenfranchised if they bring in the voter ID laws. Near the bottom of the page, 10 killed by army in 1971, found innocent. We'll see how the Daily Mail covers that later. But spoiler, bad faith, insinuation, lots of bullshit. And on the right-hand side of the page, Netanyahu vows more attacks in Gaza crisis. Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to increase the intensity of attacks on Gaza following a day of ferocious confrontations that led 30 people dead after Israeli jets and Palestinian militants traded airstrikes and rockets. As usual, there no sort of breakdown in where the casualty, you know, where the casualties lie, all that kind of thing. The reporting on all the British newspapers on this stuff is never very good. Yes, Industrial Pet, agreed. Warning there as if that isn't exactly the point. Right, moving in. Fuck Netanyahu. Yeah, agree with you, Studying Fangirl. I'd love to know what's the coverage like in Israel itself. Are there any papers that take a stance against the Netanyahu government? Guyrich tweet, good afternoon to you, good to see you. Inside the paper there's a double page ad for The Woman in the Window, which is out on 14th of May from Netflix. It's a Joe Wright film starring Amy Adams, Gary Oldman, Anthony Mackie, Brian Tyree Henry, and Julie Ann Moore. I'm not familiar with it. Moving on. PM suggests COVID inquiry will be held within a year. We're expecting to hear from him today about that. Sort of human interest story from The Guardian on page 5, but about a really horrible situation. We're under siege. Crowdfund starts the fight back in UK's smelliest village. For miles around Wally's Quarry landfill near Newcastle under Lyme, people have reported waking up in the night struggling to breathe with itchy eyes and sore throats. Yeah, it's more than a smelliest village. These people are being poisoned. May have been labelled the country's smelliest village, but it's more than a bad stench. It's making life miserable for the residents of Silverdale in Staffordshire. Hydrogen sulfide emissions breach safe limits at Wally's Quarry, and hundreds of residents have been protesting outside the site. I don't like that angle. It's a cheap angle in the headline for what is a serious story. One-stop shop, Selfridges is licensed for micro weddings. Government's own study warns ID plan may freeze out over 2 million voters. Yes, as Industrial Pet said, that's the plan. Ballot boost. End of 20-year battle for war veteran Harry. British nationals living overseas for more than 15 years will be given the right to vote in elections under new laws tabled by the government, ending a 20-year battle by Harry Schindler, aged 99. The move, unveiled in the Queen's speech, could give the right to vote in local and general elections to 3 million Britons retired or working abroad. Boom. Another way for the Conservatives to increase their stranglehold on electoral politics. There's anger as care homes and personal care gets just 9 words in the Queen's speech. John Crace's sketch is awful. He's awful. Micro weddings on minor code are very problematic. Yeah, I don't. What's the deal with micro weddings? I sort of skipped over that, but I don't. For engaged couples, a trip to Selfridges might be on the cards to buy the ring, dress or suit. Now they can tie the knot there too after Landmark London department store obtained a wedding license. Micro weddings of up to 20 guests. Okay. Jordan DH, friend of mine was a Labour PPC for Newcastle on the Lyme in 2019. Okay. Interesting. What the fuck's a micro wedding? 20 guests or less is a micro wedding, apparently. I just think it's a fucking wedding. New planning laws pose threat to green spaces as councils lose powers. Again, more centralising of power into the hands of the Tory government. By-election, Jo Cox's sister considers standing for Labour. Sister of the murdered MP Jo Cox, considering standing for Labour in the Batley and Spen by-election. Kim Ledbetter, 44, is a campaigner who lives locally and leads the charity More in Common, which is dedicated to continuing Cox's legacy. Can't see that would be a bad idea, to be honest. The CERN giant was Saxon, reveals study that sifted grains of sand. A police search for remains of suspected Fred West victim in a cafe there. You'll see that's on the front page of the Sun. Better than Brendan Cox. Yeah, Brendan Cox isn't in a position to stand, is he, after the stuff that the stories around him previously. Animals are to be recognised as sentient beings in new laws. Frankly, it's bizarre that it took so long. David Cameron's really sad texting attempts have been made public, as a bunch of his WhatsApp and text messages have been revealed by a parliamentary committee. He's just like, he comes off like a OnlyFans simp. Jordan DH, can't wait to have a micro wedding and carry my wife across the threshold of our tiny house. Yeah, Cox is auto-censored. Starmer's, by the way, that last quote was from Jordan DH. Starmer's closest aide exits after Rayner briefings row. Rumours around her personal life. Rumours which Guido Fawkes published yesterday, because he desperately wants Angela Rayner to try and sue him. Can Dua attitude. That's a bad headline. Singer bags a Brit's brace as women dominate. I like Dua Lipa, so well done to her. Alexis Petrudius says, forget gender disparity. This is all about star female quality. Undercover officer admits sex deception. They've snuck this one away on page 17. An undercover officer has admitted that women he deceived in sexual relationships would not have given their consent if they had known his true identity, a public inquiry has heard. Vince Miller, who infiltrated left-wing groups for 3 years, admitted it had been morally wrong, inappropriate and unprofessional to have deceived the women. Well, he sexually assaulted those women, didn't he? Because the consent they gave was deceptive consent. Achieved through deceit. Miller has been accused of lying to the inquiry about the extent of his sexual relationships during this deployment. He is the first of officers who deceived campaigners into relationships during the deployments to give evidence. At least 20 officers deceived women into sexual relationships between the mid-1970s and 2010. Miller has claimed that he had one-night stands with 4 women while he was undercover between 76 and 79. One of the women, known only as Madeline, said Miller had lied to the inquiry about the nature of their relationship. The inquiry continues. Good afternoon, Red Tick Seed. Guido's a pay pig, says Guybrush. Aren't we all hogs, says Yu-Gi-Oh! Afternoon, everyone. Red Tick Seed. UK could spare 20% of its vaccine stocks to help poor nations, says UNICEF. Bet we don't know. Structure of staff hiring has hallmark of tax scam. A recruitment company that hires workers to do NHS COVID tests and is co-owned by a well-known football executive has been supplying staff employed through a network of firms that possesses many of the hallmarks of a notorious tax scam. Industrious recruitment, well, that sounds very non-dodgy to start with, doesn't it? Has supplied laboratory staff to the NHS Lighthouse Laboratories in Milton Keynes, launched last year by the Health Secretary Matt Hancock as the first of 3 government mega labs processing hundreds of thousands of coronavirus tests. Hundreds of workers recruited by Industrious to process the tests at the site have been employed by multiple companies, The Guardian understands, in a structure that appears to mimic schemes previously cited as depriving the taxpayer of hundreds of millions of pounds a year. They'll just say, oh no, we had to do it quickly because of the pandemic. Absolute scum. Tara writes, the very specific legal reason why he can't be convicted for sexual assault, but he should never have been allowed to get anywhere near doing that. Yeah, no, I know. There's a lot of reasons, but you know, morally, that's what it is. Even if legally he can duck that. After 50 years, coroner declares Ballymurphy victims innocent. I'm glad they've got some measure of justice, but it should not have taken 50 years. Marina Hyde says, Johnson wants to have his voter ID card and eat it. If I am ever asked, Boris Johnson once wrote, of ID cards on the streets of London or in any other venue, public or private, to produce my ID card is evidence that I am who I say I am, when I have done nothing wrong and am simply ambling along and breathing God's fresh air like any other freeborn Englishman, then I will take that card out of my wallet and physically eat it in the presence of whatever emanation of the state is demanded I produce it. Righto. Well, in a plot twist worthy of Dial plot twist, oh fucking hell, the emanation of the state turns out to be Boris Johnson. Yes, despite the... I can't bear it. I can't buy it. Just simp. Yeah, Auntie Dange, there's a lot of them. George Monbiot says, laws mean nothing when enforcement has been gutted. I agree with him. Peter Mandelson writes, Labour can be reformed if it looks outwards. Fuck off. In the G2, Anthony Brown, the man who resisted his own deportation, then fought tirelessly for Windrush survivors. Awa Modawi says, as the rich get richer, the hungry get hungrier. Yep. But also in her column, she says, why are we so obsessed with how often people shower? We seem weirdly invested these days in the shower habits of strangers. Eat Week brings a flurry of new articles about how the pandemic has turned us all into dirt monsters, normally pegged to some supposedly shocking survey results. Last November, for example, oh, fuck off. Toast hassle, tired of omelettes or super noodles? 20 chefs choose the best hot sandwiches to make in a hurry. Right, okay. I mean, I love a hot sandwich, to be fair. Anthony Brown applied to university in the 1980s. He was instead told to leave the UK. He fought his deportation and won. Now, in the first of a new series profiling people whose personal experiences led to courageous campaigning, he tells Amelia Gentleman how he is helping the victims of the Windrush scandal. He says, I knew what they were going through. I had faced it. Hot sandwich, this Guybrush tweet good. Is it because people on Twitter dragged mostly white people for smelling? Because I would say cope, absolute cope. Chris McRae, that's God's good air phrase, cuts out any atheist Hindu Sikhs all other non-Abrahamic religion followers. On reflection, that might be his point. Studying Fang is laughing despite herself. Breathing God's good air is such a weird phrase. It is. In TV reviews, Lucy Mangan says Hospital on BBC Two was accessible and compelling. Tonight, Danny Boy, 9 p.m, BBC Two. BAFTA-winning Robert Jones, brings this feature-length adaptation of the real-life story of soldier Brian Wood, who was awarded the Military Cross for his role in the Battle of Danny Boy in Iraq in 2004, but who was then falsely accused of abuse upon his return during the Al-Swedi inquiry into mistreatment of Iraqi prisoners. Won't be watching that. In Corrections and Clarifications, an article that referred to the desegregation of Little Rock's Central High School in 1960 said federal troops had to escort black children through a state National Guard blockade. It was, in fact, a civilian mob that blocked their way. Okay. An editorial about online abuse of female journalists said the chilling effect cannot be underestimated. The intended word was overestimated. So there we go. Hey SK, how you doing? We're nearly done through The Guardian. We've got 3 more papers to go after that. Patricia Brown, leading codebreaker at Bletchley Park during the Second World War, has died. She gets a pretty nice obituary there. By May 1942, she and her team were reading a small number of messages between the German embassy in Dublin and Berlin. By August, they were able to read every single one. Yeah, you've not missed anything good. What they're continuing to go on about their 200th anniversary. Typo negative, the best Guardian Groniad errors from irritable bowl to the worst team in the league. Paragraphs prefixed erratum and later a correction were dotted around the paper like a spot the balls up competition. Their coverage of the situation in Israel. Netanyahu steps up Gaza attacks as Israeli jets and Hamas rockets kill 30. Can we divide that number to say what percentage of the people killed was Israeli jets and what number was Hamas rockets? No, for some reason. Teenager arrested after 7 pupils and 2 staff were shot dead in Russian school. Grim. China's population growing at its slowest rate in 60 years. In the financial news, AstraZeneca boss secures bonus in face of revolt by 40% of investors. His bonuses since 2012, 3.7 million in 2012, 3.3 million in 2013, 3.5 million in 2014, 8 million in 2015, 14 million in 2016, 10 million in 2017, 12 million in 2018, 15 million in 2019, 15 million in 2020, and 17.8 million this year. Yeah, don't let the Guardian start thinking they're on the Groniad stuff. Yeah, exactly. Goldman Sachs executive makes millions on Dogecoin. A senior manager at Goldman Sachs in London has quit the US investment bank after making millions from investing in Dogecoin. Crypto asset launched as a joke that has risen by about 1,000% in the last year. City sources says Aziz McMahon, a managing director and head of emerging market sales, had resigned from the bank after making money from investing in digital currency. Ugh. Soriot Rebels send a message that some fund managers care about boardroom pay inflation, writes Nils Prattley, very few of them. The OECD has urged robust inheritance tax as wealth gap widens. Don't expect that to happen here. And on the back page, I've never got what that means, the Groniad thing. Yeah, it's like they're so bad at spelling they misspelled their own name. It's a private eye thing that the Guardian has tried to reclaim for itself. Yeah, on the back page in the sport, Guardiola celebrates a title like no other after United defeat hands Manchester City, 3rd Premier League crown in 4 seasons. Right, that was the Guardian. For me, this is bland on the run. -20. Like, not even worthy of a mega minus. It's just sort of boring. Right, so next we're going to do the sum, but first I'll do the roll call. Today I am the Broken Bottle Boy. You can follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy. The moderator today, SK the Crusader and Guybrush Tweet Good in the mod squad. In the chat today, another TT viewer, Arid Tracks, Auntie Dange, Carbot14XYZ, Chris McRae, Dip Pendrin, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Feet, Industrial Pet, JDLB, Jordan DH, Chronotherm, Mark Kenosis, Mr. Gump, Paulina93, Red Tick Seed, Selinka Maya, Snur, Studying Fangirl, Toms, Taya Wrights, V&K, Virgo Pros, and the Fishmeister General Yuan. Right, let's get on. Yeah, -10 for the Guardian. Dull. Mark Kenosis, 1 progressive vote sharing pact between the Lib Dems, the Greens, and Labour that still loses in a landslide. Bland out of 10 from Mr. Gump. And a bland out of 10 from Guybrush as well. Chronotherm, you missed most of the Guardian, but you also missed nothing. Correct. Right, front page of the Sun, pretty much a classic tabloid story here. Fred killed Mary. They put in quotes because they don't know for sure. Body dig at West Cafe. On the right-hand side of the page, Jewel Leaper, she nets 2 Brits. And at the bottom of the page, sex, 12 things every man must know. Let's see how many of us, who identify as men, do know these 12 things when we reach that page. Sex. Yeah, that's right. Page 3, that isn't page 3, but is page 3. Hab, abs, fabaroo. Fucking hell, what a headline. Reality star Sophie Habbo looks a world away from Chelsea as she shows off her abs in a leopard print bikini from her latest photo shoot. Who gives a shit? Also on that page, Yabba Dabba Chew, cavemen gorged on junk food. They didn't, it's just that they may have eaten more starchy foods than we first thought. Guybrush Tweetgood, as a man, I'm hootering and hollering at the reference to sex. Sex. Right. On page 4 and 5, West victim worked at killer's favourite cafe. Mary vanished half a century ago. Is she buried half a mile from Cromwell Street? Cops dig up Beast's old haunt. Classic tabloid move there. Beast. On page 6, they cover David Cameron's cringy text and WhatsApp messages. Help Lex love DC. On page 7, it's coverage of Bennifer. Yes, 19 years after they split up, could it be that Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck are back together? The headline, it's Jen and Ben again. Not a great headline. On pages 8 and 9, historic Queen's speech turbocharges nation. A giant leap for UK and one small step for Her Majesty. Oh, fuck off. Fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. On page 11, PCSO suspect in court. Julia's murderer accused in cuffs. Coverage of the Brit Awards on pages 12 and 13. Bazaar at the Brits. Show is hailed by 4,000 fans. Putting on the Brits. Stars back playing live. Coldplay and Elton John top the bill. Could be any point in the past 50 years. Mark Kenosis. Yeah, I respect women, so I'm ogling Fred instead of Dua Lipa. Guybrush Tweetgood, oh god, I got sex horny and now I looked at West and now I'm all fucked up. On pages 14 and 15, Maya Jama and Dua Lipa take up most of the page under the headline Gong Girls, female acts sweep field with awards. That's because Mabel, Arlo Parks, Griff, Little Mix, Dua Lipa, and Celeste all picked up awards. They were Bennifer last time, they're Genjamin now. Yeah. Jane Moore is awful. That's all we need to know about that. I can't bother to get into it. On page 19, Keely Hazel poses in lingerie for a glamour shoot before making a more demure appearance on a dinner date with David Walliams. Don't do it, Keely. Moving on. Humans global warming blamed as animals stray. Whales in the Thames, a walrus in Wales. Why so many sea creatures are spout of context. Page 23, training hard. Tyson Fury seen on a sun lounger drinking some beer. Bottom of the page, McCann's quiet gathering, poignant tribute on Maddie's 18th. This is a really disturbing story, frankly. They couple will leave gifts in her bedroom, which has remained untouched since she vanished 14 years ago. Later in the same story, the Sun reporter writes, their gifts and cards will be kept in a room crammed with yet-to-be-open Christmas and birthday presents amassed since she went missing from their holiday apartment in Praia de Luz in May 2007. This story is covered in most of the papers. Lion Air. Vet Andy Fraser sits in a plane with 3 huge lions, hoping the only roar he hears is from the engines. Kalahari lions, each weighing 200 kilograms, were sedated for a private jet trip. They were being moved across South Africa from one game reserve to another to reduce the risk of inbreeding. Conservative group The Bateleurs, which has 200 volunteer pilots, said Kalahari lions are renowned for being the largest with highly sought-after genes. Yeah. Torture raiders kill Brit mother. Greek hell is how the Sun sensitively covers that. Right. Here is, according to the Sun, the 12 ways to give a woman pleasure. Funny enough, shutting up and not reading the Sun aren't in the list. 1. Tease to please. 2. Blow hot kisses. 3. Edging. 4. Half an hour of foreplay. I like they do this. It's like as if like you can just set a timer and boom, that's it, sorted. This is only going to get worse. Talk dirty. Explore erogenous zones. Right? Who? What? Which men didn't like? Who? What? How are these? How are these secrets? Play footsie. You don't have to have a foot fetish to enjoy this. Sucking toes can be super pleasurable. Who wrote this? comes from a Radio 4 Woman's Hour feature on the female orgasm. This is Georgette Cully shares 12 easy ways to thrill your partner. Toe sucking, it's all a bit Gillian Taylor for Fergie era, that. Take your time. On average, it takes a man 2 to 10 minutes to orgasm and a woman 16 to 20. Mirror moves. Some presume it's only men who are visual creatures, but women are just as turned on by what they see. Set up a mirror next to the bed or invest in big mirrored wardrobe. What? Come visit our bedroom. See our massive mirrored wardrobe. Explore tantric sex is at number 11. Number 10 was listen and learn. A third of women are afraid to... yeah, okay, right. Well, that's a bit obvious. And 12, erotic kissing. Do not underestimate the power of a snog, but shave and brush your teeth first. Fucking hell. The level that they rate Sun readers. Remember, fuckwits, to brush your teeth. Sun's weird brand of horny. Yeah, exactly, Tara. It's really weird. Red 60, putting on my Victoria-era safari hat to explore the erogenous zones. Yeah. At the bottom of the page, mom of 3, Amanda Dowdle, 33, and husband Mike, also 33, a tattoo shop owner from Manchester, spent the weekend trying out the 4gasm positions with great success. Okay. Project manager Anthony Howe from Richmond, who is single, says of the Beeb study, I thought I was good in bed, thanks to my 9-inch friend, but this has made me rethink. Why are you in the paper talking about what you claim is the size of your cock? Also, this shirt is why this man is single. And finally, our personal assistant Sarah Burton was no stranger to the secrets of the 4gasm. Sarah, 39, from Bolton, who is also single, says, I swear by these sex techniques. I've been doing them my whole life, but I didn't have a name for them. It's now great to finally be able to tell men what to do in bed. Right, oh, okay. Here are the four tips, right? Those 4 techniques she'll say yes to. I don't know if they've written it like that. I don't know how to make it express how awful they've written it here. 1, angling. No, not fishing. Oh, Jesus. The sex technique involves the woman rotating, raised or lowering the pelvis. Right. 2, shallowing. She controls the angle and depth of penetration. How is this stuff like a mystery to these people? 3, rocking with women on top or in reverse cowgirl position. And 4, pairing involves adding a helping hand or maybe a sex toy for extra stimulation during sex. Is this being written for people in the 70s who have no... Jesus Christ. Sun's Guide to Adventurous Sex. Turn the lights on. I know, this is fucking... Yeah, 9-inch Friend, the little-known 9-Inch Nails cover band. Woman spinning like a rotisserie chicken. Guybrush Threepwood. Harry Cole wrote this crying to himself thinking of Carrie. 9-inch Friend. Good evening, we are 9-inch Friends. And this is Hurt, which is... oh, never mind. D-Day reenactment is off. Sand's too risky. A D-Day reenactment has been cancelled because sand on a beach where it is staged is deemed too dangerous. Organisers said blown sand and surface water had made tracks across the dunes hazardous. The annual event in Devon, blah, blah, oh, fuck off. In the goal supplement, Chelsea and Arsenal, all that shit. Katie Price says, I'm having IVF for baby number 6. Then I want to go for number 7. Whatever. Mark Gnosis, you are fully right. This is absolutely written for people who use the phrase having it off. And Auntie Dange, yeah, how to have sex. Have sex. It's just the blandest shit. Tonight's TV picks, Danny Boy, 9 p.m. No interest in that. Davina McCall's Sex Myths and the Menopause, Channel 4, 9 p.m. Has George Floyd Changed Britain, ITV, 9 p.m. And Martin Lewis, Extreme Savers, ITV, 8 p.m. Mark Canosis, having it off on our naughty hollybobs. Chris McRae, Harry Cole imagining Carrie taking back control of Boris's Johnson. Oh, God. In Fab Daily, the yearly questionnaire that could keep you together, but do be honest, right? It's a questionnaire that you're meant to do with your partner. 5 things you love about your partner in your relationship. 5 moments in the past year you felt happy together. Rate things. My partner treats me like I'm their equal. I feel I'm able to be open with... Yeah, like, fucking hell. If you... Jesus fucking Christ. If you need a survey, if you need a form published by The Sun to work out if your relationship is going in the right direction... Your relationship is not going in the right direction. 5 celebrities reveal their childhood crushes who made their hearts flutter. Rianne Sugden, the ex-Page 3 girl, had posters of Zach Hansen from 90s boy band Hanson on her wall. Tamsin Outhwaite fancied Martin Kemp from Spandau Ballet. Trisha Goddard was into Robert Palmer. Laura Hamilton, a Place in the Sun presenter, fancied Lee Ryan from Blue. And Linda Lusardi was into Donny Osmond. Right, what do we do? Right, in the letters, in the Sun, we generally only read the £50 letter. And today's £50 letter allegedly comes from, but probably written by people in the office, Paul Marston, who writes, "A national thank you day for all those who saved lives during the pandemic is the least we can do. We should never forget the courage of those who made such a huge contribution in the face of this nightmare virus. Some of these brave people lost their lives helping others, and they deserve to be remembered long after the crisis ends." Right. Coin alert. Coins. Dive. Page 41 of the Sun, we get Help Save Lives at Sea. Act now to own the official new RNLI solid silver coin. Available for just $9.99. An exclusive £40 saving on the coin. Coins. Anyway, it's got the Queen on one side and a lifeboat on the other. I would prefer it if the Queen was in the lifeboat. Come on. Good to see some Ged coins in the chat there. Various coins, including the Golden Tonti. Incredible advert for a mobility scooter. If you buy this mobility scooter for your gran, this is what she'll look like. And in just coins, just endless coins there. Yeah, RNLI coin should float. Exactly, Chronotherm. Back page, Sport, Man City Champions 2021. We built this city on rock and golds. Yeah. Soon there will be Gump coins, says Mr. Gump. Hell yeah. Okay. I'm going to make a coin emoji for here. I really should have got round to it before. All right, that was the Sun. I don't know. Classic minus. A triple negative nice from me. That's the minus 69, 69, 69. Now we move on to the Sun's self-aggrandizing sibling, the Times. Not really any cleverer, just in possession of a more expensive thesaurus. Guybrush tweet good. Putting my sex coin in a wife for her anniversary. The chat today is top draw, although I am losing my mind slightly. Ged Station gives the Sun a minus 69. Red Tick Seed, 10 out of 10. Great paper. Please, someone check on Red Tick Seed. He's been kidnapped. Mark Kenosis, minus 100. Mid-40s couples awkwardly sucking each other's toes, even though neither of them are into it. Slinkamaya, minus 69, 69, 69. Although you're reading bad sex advice made me cry laugh. Well, that's good. Studying Fangirl, God's Good, minus God's Good Air out of 10. Right, so, the Times. Front page of the Times, top of the shops, best spring boots in times 2. Manchester City win Premier League. Main story, new laws to protect university free speech. Fucking wank. Gavin Williams. Again, as I mentioned earlier, if you've not read today, Taya writes, minus 9, totally real and not exaggerated inches for the Sun. If you haven't read today's newsletter, it covers some of this stuff about the fake free speech crisis and how journalists are buying into the government's narratives without questioning them whatsoever. Yeah, free speech is it. The key part in this article get this, right? So here we go. The Department for Education highlighted examples where it said free speech had been restricted, including Bristol University Jewish Society being charged nearly £500 in security costs to invite the Israeli ambassador to speak. It's not a restriction of free speech, it's just the fact that, that's going to cause issues. An academic signing an open letter in 2017 expressing opposition to the Oxford professor Nigel Bigger's comments that British people should have pride as well as shame in the empire. Bigger exercises free speech, and then the rest of them exercise their free speech by writing a letter about it. That is not a suppression of free speech, but then these motherfuckers know that. SK the Crusader, I mean the Israeli ambassador is notorious Nakba deny it so I can see why that caused problems. Yeah, there you go. Right side of the page, Nightingale effect drives thousands to work in the NHS. Again, this is a bullshit story. You get near the bottom and you find out that no, what has happened to a large extent is people haven't retired because they thought they needed to stay on for the pandemic, and that numbers are still down. The Royal College of Nursing says the number of vacancies reported by the NHS had barely changed, suggesting that total may be inflated by nurses who have joined on short-term or temporary contracts. But the headline doesn't suggest that. Absolutely, just the Times is full of these tiny distortions every day. In stories that you think, oh, this seems like a straight story, but then you look in it carefully and you think, no, that's actually bullshit. On bottom of page 3 of the Times, Meghan's feminist crusade comes full circle years later. When she was 11 years old, Meghan Markle struck a blow for women's equality and enjoyed a brief moment in the media spotlight when she wrote to Procter & Gamble, the American household products giant, to complain about sexist TV advertisement. More than a quarter of a century later, her old adversary has become a trusted ally in the fight. Oh, God. Who gives a fuck? No more tax rises as boom forecast gives Sunak hope of 20 billion windfall. Right. Met chief scraps idea for female police team. The Metropolitan Police Commissioner considered creating an all-female response team, but abandoned the idea after she realised she was just trying to recreate Charlie's Angels. Doesn't say that. The idea after consulting rank-and-file officers emerged yesterday. Dame Cressida Dick said she had considered the approach before the Clapham Common Vigil, but concluded it was impractical as well as being hugely divisive. We need more female prison guards. Protect children online or face big fines, tech giants warned. Fuck off. Quentin Letts is fucking awful. Queen sits alone under golden canopy, writes the Times, trying to make us feel sorry for her. Cinquemire, a female cop, is still a cop. Mark, I think I hate, Mark Cano says, I think I hate Gavin Williamson more than I hate anyone else on earth. Fair dues. Sunak wants clearer plan to improve social care. No, he doesn't. He just doesn't want to spend the money on it. Fuck Sunak. Want to ease student worries at a stroke? Get a therapy dog. This dog is so cool looking. His name is Jonah, and he works at Wadham College, Oxford. Just, like, hangs out with students. Yeah, under a golden canopy. Boo fucking who. David Cameron contacted ministers 56 times on behalf of Greensill. He's a simp. He was a Greensill simp. Back to normal by end of year if the vaccines keep working is the headline. Spain prepares to let British travellers in. We keep hearing this one. Dua Lipa looks fucking incredible. Like, the hair, the dress, it's amazing. Also, Arlo Parks' suit was cool. Jail term for ex-ambassador who gave details of salmon accusers. Craig Murray, 62, prominent blogger, was told yesterday at the High Court in Edinburgh that his actions had struck at the heart of administration of justice. He published details about the identities of female witnesses from the Alex Salmon trial, but he's vowed to fight the decision to give him an 8-month prison sentence. Seal stuck in a net for 2 years is put down. Horrendous. The Times covers the Troubles verdict that they 10 people killed in Ballymurphy were victims, not guilty of anything, is actually covered decently. A doctor is accused of giving 90 women needless surgery. Jesus Christ. A teenager, Marcus Evans, 19, ran into a burning home to save a woman's life after seeing a police community support officer outside the house in Baglan near Port Talbot. He lost his mother to cancer and said he ran into the burning house to rescue an elderly lady because he didn't want anyone else to suffer his pain. Oh, good on him. Good on him. It's first decline in private school pupils for 10 years. Number of private school children has fallen for the first time in a decade, according to an annual survey, suggesting that a decrease in boarders from overseas is to blame. Again, another thing where, like, that won't last. It's a temporary blip. Daniel Finkelstein claims that Dominic Cummings is wrong to write off the centre. It's fucking mosh, that column. Roger Boyes, the most unfortunately named columnist in the Times, says Israel's Jerusalem blunders only benefit Iran, right? Alice Thompson says that this year's exam shambles is as bad as last year's. In the birthdays, not happy birthday to Risky Sunak, who is 41. Neil Astley, editor of Blood Axe Books and author of The End of My Tether, is 68. Burt Bacharach, the composer of What the World Needs Now Is Love and many, many others, is 93. Professor Sir Cyril Chandler, the paediatric nephrologist, is 82. Dr. Michael Dixon, Chairman, College of Medicine, 69. Emilio Estevez, actor in The Breakfast Club, amongst many other things, 59. Sir Terry Farrell, architect whose work includes the MI6 building, is 83. Mark Foster, the swimming six-time world champion, is 51. Susan Foyster, Deputy Director of the National Gallery, 67. Dr. Aidan Fowler, the National Director of Patient Safety in England and a Deputy Chief Medical Officer, Department of Health and Social Care, is 55. Donald Gleeson, the actor, is 38. Sir James Goss, the High Court Judge, is 68. Suzanne Hampshire, the actress, is 84. Paul Huxley, the artist, is 83. Brian Kay, the broadcaster, is 77. Sarah Kesselman, the actress, is 77. Robert Key, the cricketer for Kent and England, is 42. Daniel Liebskin, the architect, the Imperial War Museum North, Manchester, built in 2002, is 75. Rami Malek, the actor, is 40. Prof. Colin Mayer is 68. Dame Jenny Murray is 71. Lord Chris Patton of Barnes is 77. Andy Reynolds Smith, Chief Executive of Smith Group Engineering Company, is 55. Dame Rosalind Saville, Director of the Wallace Collection until 2011, is 70. Frank Stella, the painter, is 85. Major General Michael Tillotson, Chief of Staff to Commander-in-Chief, UK Land Forces until 1983, and then a writer, is 93. And Steve Winwood, singer-songwriter known for the Spencer Davis Group and Traffic, is 73. On this day in 1926, the General Council of the Trades Unions Congress called off the general strike, which involved 1.7 million workers and brought the UK to a standstill for 9 days. The last word: truth tellers are not always palatable. There is a preference for candy bars. That's Gwendolyn Brooks, the American poet. Happy birthday to Donald Gleeson and no one else. I know I almost missed the nice Slinkermeyer, but I spun back. Here's a picture of a woman making a big pile of corn in Bangladesh so it can be dried. It's quite a good picture. Various things in the business pages. Green Corps is happy because people are getting back into offices, as it would be. They try and sell you an Echo's expanding garden hose. Oh my god, these shorts. I thought this guy wasn't wearing a top because of the colour of the t-shirt. Chino shorts, only £40. 2 pairs for £70. Yours in the colours of brick, sand, mustard, navy, sky, stone, royal blue, or pink. In the obits, Major Geoffrey Beadle, Royal Marine Commander with a truculent fighting spirit, who was decorated for bravery and stood vigil alongside Churchill's coffin. He's died aged 98. Robert Mundell, the economist and iconoclast who won a Nobel and was the driving force behind Reaganomics and European single currencies, died at 88. And Richard Parry Jones, conscientious car engineer and executive whose innovation was credited with reviving the fortunes of Ford in the 90s, has died aged 69. Not nice. And in the sport, United hand City the title. Leicester's win at Old Trafford put seal on hardest triumph yet for Guardiola's side. Right, give me your scores for that. That is the Times. Robert Mundell, Burning Hell, says Mark Kenosis. That is the Times. For me, it's a minus 500. Red Tixie, 10 out of 10. Great paper. Red Tixie, what's going on today? Something's quick. I think Red Tixie has been replaced by a Manchurian candidate. Please, nobody buy those horrible shorts. You do not deserve better. Slinkermeyer, minus 69.69. Insidious. Yeah. And finally, for today, we come to the Daily Mail. And the Times gets minus 100 bushels of Bangladeshi corn from Mark Kenosis and a minus 1,000 people pissing on Robert Mundell's grave, says Teo. Right. Okay, so Daily Mail. Top of the shop. They're just being really bizarre about Adele and Adele's father. Adele's father has died. She was estranged from him from the age of 11, and they're being really weird about it, including Sarah Vine being particularly weird about it in her column, which we'll come to. Front page story: when will they show they care? For years, the Mail has fought to end scandal of crippling care costs. Yeah, okay, but you keep pushing us to vote in Tory governments who don't give a shit about it, so... Inside, Brits coming home. Dua and Little Mix dazzle at awards. Their coverage of the Fred West thing is Fred West. Police dig up cafe basement in hunt for yet another victim. Typical Daily Mail bullshit, as this story about GCHQ trying to hire more women has to feature a picture of Gemma Arterton topless, having her back kissed in a really sinister way by Daniel Craig in... what Bond film is that in? I think Quantum of Solace. The worst of the Bond films. Their coverage of the Queen's speech. Throne alone. Fuck off. Zach Goldsmith claims Carrie Simons had nothing to do with laws about animals put forward in the Queen's speech. Chinny Recon. Page 13, they cover the murder and torture of that young mother in Greece. Disgusting. Time for Doctor Who to face a Cyberwoman, says X-Star. We've had our first Time Lord, now there are times for a gender balance amongst Doctor Who's intergalactic arch enemies too. Chris Eccleston, who played the Ninth Doctor, says producers should replace Cybermen with Cyberwomen. I'm sure he's just said this, like, offhandedly, and they're making it into something. And why shouldn't it? Although Cyberwoman did appear in a spin-off series, Torchwood, in 2006, there's never been one in Doctor Who. Oh, fucking hell. Well, there might have been. Anyway, whatever. Desperate Dave is how they cover the Cameron thing. Exposed Cameron's 62 messages to former colleagues pleading for help for his now disgraced paymaster. Signed, Love DC. Slinkermeyer, Cybermen are fucking agender. Yeah, well, the Cybermen convert whole planets. PCSO suspect in handcuffs, 21-year-old in court, charged with murder as tragic Grand's dog retraces her final steps. If I'm ever murdered and the Daily Mail writes an article that says tragic journalist or something, picket the place. We must never forget their sacrifice. Families of 3 nurses who lost their lives back with Daily Mail's campaign. More pages of Daily Mail talking about itself. Sarah Vine says, take it from me, having a difficult dad can be a gift. I don't think Adele wants your advice, Sarah Vine. She's having a go at Gwyneth Paltrow. She's having a go at Shaun Ryder. She doesn't like The Pursuit of Love. Who gives a fuck? Right, this is the most disgusting thing in the Daily Mail today. 10 shot dead in Army IRA swoop, totally innocent. Look at the insinuation in that headline. Like, they shouldn't have really been where they were, should they? And look at the quote marks around totally innocent. Like, no, the coroner said they're totally innocent. You don't need to quote marks it. There's not a doubt about it. It's an official verdict. Right, so they continue to basically harass Adele by writing, Daddy, I never wanted someone like you. Adele's worth 150 million and lives in £8.5 million mansion. Her father, who's died of cancer at 57, had been living in a trailer park. What went wrong? He left when she was 3, but boasted he inspired her. He left when she was 3. That's what went wrong. And she had no responsibility for her father who did nothing for her. Fuck off. On this day, May 12th, 2021, from the Daily Mail archive, written in 1981, Jamaican reggae star Bob Marley died yesterday after a 7-month battle against cancer. Marley, 36, who with his group The Wailers was the world's best-known reggae star, died in hospital in Miami. Many of his records were million-selling hits, including No Woman, No Cry, and Jammin'. May 12, 1997. It's been 50 years. The Cannes Film Festival has rarely seen anything like it. Amid 300 jostling photographers, 60 camera crews, and an excited crowd of 2,000, girl power arrived at the Hotel Martinez in the unmistakable shape of the Spice Girls. Britain's pop sensations were in the French resort to reveal details of their first feature film. Spice World. Yep, Slinkermeyer, exactly. Kids have no obligations towards toxic parents. Happy birthday, Says the Daily Mail to Rishi Sunak, he's 41, no happy birthday from me, and happy birthday to Susan Hampshire, the actress. Also born on this day in 1942, Ian Drury and Dorothy Hodgkin. 1910, in 1964, the Cairo-born British chemist became only the third woman to receive the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for her determinations by X-ray techniques of the structures of important biochemical substances. She's credited with solving the atomic structure of molecules such as penicillin and insulin, and remains the only British woman to have won a Science Nobel Prize. May 12, 1890, first official English County Championship cricket match was played at Bristol. Yorkshire beat Gloucestershire. And in 1978, Boney M were enjoying their first #1 hit with Rivers of Babylon. Quote of the day comes from Henry Brooks Adams, who wrote, "A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops. They can never tell where their influence stops." And joke of the day: why did the Invisible woman turn down a job offer? She couldn't see herself doing it. Yes, Chronotherm, showing Spice World at Cannes is like entering the Hungry Caterpillar for the Booker Prize. Right, moving on. Israel steps up attacks on another day of bloodshed is how the Daily Mail covers that. It has commentary from Mark Almond, not that one, director of the Crisis Research Institute at Oxford, under the headline "Pawns in a Deadly Power Struggle." More coverage of the sleepy go bye-bye lions travelling on a plane to go somewhere so they can shag without inbreeding. Daily Mail has a double-page spread on gay conversion therapy. Scarred by the gay conversion zealots, electrocuted, exercise, beaten, as a new law is unveiled to outlaw barbaric therapy to make gay people straight. 4 victims bravely tell of their experiences. Only this law is not that. This law is absolute window dressing because it won't ban non-coercive techniques. Fuck off. I'm not going to bother with Money Mail. In the TV today, Danny Boy 9 PM, no thank you. Johnny Vegas, Carry On Glamping, 10 PM, Channel 4. Christopher Stevens, Last Night's TV, rated Hospital 4 stars, and The Moneymaker 3 stars. Yet Law has massive exceptions. Mark Knos's Spice World Rules, genuinely funny, and they're great charismatic actresses. Yeah, it's one of those films that's been reclaimed as a cult classic, but I'm not sure. Terry writes, and the violently homophobic Daily Mail using and sensationalizing survivors of PTSD is so fucking gross. Agreed. In the cartoons, Garfield is asleep. Chloe and Co. She's drinking with a man. And in Fred Bassett is standing on a chair trying to get some food on a table and asks Jock to help him. Yeah, Garfield's a good boy. Right. In the straight to the point letters from the Daily Mail, Graham Nutley, real name, writes, "Is the BBC now the official opposition?" Shug McPhail writes, "Mel Gibson has a lot to answer for." Wendy Rumble says, "We can hug our nearest and dearest from next week. So how come footballers have been doing it for months? Why were they above the law?" Well, it was a different situation. They were in bubbles. But, fuck off. Rosemary Kingsnorth of Broadway, Worcestershire says, "Caprice doesn't need a litter picker. Her stiletto heels can do the job twice as fast." Anthony Dean says, "George Clooney's had many a slice of good luck and earned his crust. Now he's toast." Babs Nickel of Grimsby says, "Jonathan Warburton should stop flashing the cash at actors to advertise his products and put more currants in his tea cakes." Babs Nickel. Steve Mitchell of London says, "Experts needn't have gone to the trouble of creating a compilation picture of the perfect woman. They just needed a 1979 photo of Debbie Harry." John G says, "My insurers have offered to reduce my premium by 1 pence. Better than an increase, I suppose." And David Chubb says, "I don't want to think of Keith Richards sitting on his sofa worrying if he's put the rubbish in the correct bins. He needs to pick up his guitar and get back on the road." Obviously, they're trying to sell you a load of cruises. Today's recipe is pasta alla vodka. Just have the vodka. Tablet computer. They're trying to sell you a phone for making phone calls. And then you could be as happy as these models. Is David Chubb the guy from Sunsex Tips? Imagine having the time to write any of this shit outside of Twitter, says Get Station. I know. Not a coin today, but something almost as pointless to spend your money on. I love my dog to the moon and back crystal dog pendants. It's engraved on the back with I love my dog to the moon and back, and there are tons of different ones you can get. Beagle, Bichon, Black Lab, Boston Terrier, Chihuahua, etc. Comes with a matching 18-inch silver sterling chain. Yours for just 2 payments of $39.99 or 1 payment of $79.98. Jesus Christ. Trying to sell you things to stop back pain. If you didn't like the chino shorts in the Times, you're really not going to like the chino trousers in the Daily Mail. The Peter Christensen Gentleman's Outfitters offers you these stone green, tan, sage, sand, or navy coloured chino trousers. Yours for £45 or 2 for $80. Jesus Christ. A phone designed for the guy that says phones these days. Haha. Yeah. Mark Notice, I love those pennants. Will go really well with my Winnie the Pooh jumper, grey sweatpants and white trainers. Elsewhere, they're trying to sell you an electric boiler. And on the back page in the sport, the hardest one. Pep Hale's toughest title is United Gift City Crown. That is... It's like the trouser picture. What is going on with the crotch bulge? It looks like the arse is on the front. It looks like a back to front man. Very strange. Right, so that was the Daily Mail. For me, it's a minus quadruple negative nice. Quadruple negative nice. Minus 69, 69, 69, 69. Only 1 coin popped up today. That was in the Times. No coins in the Daily Mail, but all sorts of other horrendous things. Now, talking about coins, he said, moving swiftly on. If you like a show and you want to be the person who gets to pick what magazine we do in the magazine special on Friday, I know Dan has asked for the non-league paper, which I'm going to try and get, but I do still want to do a magazine in that slot as well. So if you want to pick what magazine that is, let me know today or tomorrow by chucking some coins into the pot, which is paypal.me/conquest of the useless. Of course, yes, of course, I will be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock here. I'm just going to do the roll call and remind you, of course, to tune in to SK the Crusaders next stream, whenever that is. I'm sure he will tell you. I am, of course, Broken Bottle Boy. Follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy. In the mod squad today has been Guybrush, Tweet Good, and SK the Crusader. The other thing I'd say is special edition of my media diet interviews out today. It is a midweek one, and it is talking to Rob from Praxis Cast. So do check that out. I'll chuck the link in here. And if you enjoy that, consider subscribing for the paid version of the newsletter, where you get extra stuff twice a week. Hold on. Yeah, just gonna finishing the roll call. Another TT viewer, Aratrax, Aiton, Auntie Dange, The Bad Motivator, Carbot 14XYZ, Chris McRae, Commander Root, Dick Pendrin, Feet Forward, Get Station, Industrial Pet, JDLB, Jordan DH, Chronotherm, Mark Canosis, Mr. Gump, Paulina93, Red Tick Seed, Slinkermeyer, Snur, Studying Fangirl, Cider Streams, Torms, Terror Rights, The Royal Flush, V&K, Virgo Pros, White247, and Yuan were here today. Thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow for another 3 to 4 paper extravaganza, and then on Friday back with a magazine special and 3 papers to pick apart. Have a good one all.